just get to take it easy and me.
All right.
You there?
Yep.
Okay, you're already rolling, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, silly girl.
You can cut it after.
One of the cooler places that we can go to in Arizona is Winslow, Arizona, where we can stand on the corner for what was made so popular by the Eagles with their song "Take It Easy." This is a piece of art that's up on the wall randomly over this direction. Here's where we get to stand on the corner. They have some nice artwork, a guitar and a couple of statues. Glenn Fry. And over here, there's no lady. We need a woman in the flatbed. Slowing down to take a look at me. One of my favorite parts about living out here is I feel like it. I'm going to jump on the wheeler. This is right next door to where I live. And people come out here and ride around all the time. People of all ages. You just come out here and beat around. There's a little, I'm going to call it a ravine. There's a dip that goes all the way along one side of this field. It's got a bunch of little trails in it. Got jumps, got berms, got hills, got a lot of dirt to slide around in. Got gorgeous weather. I know I have my hoodie on right now, but that's because, well, you know, doing 30, 40 mile an hour, it does get a little chilly. But, you know, it's absolutely gorgeous out here. It's beautiful, and you can just take and jump on it and go. Licensed for the street. Nobody ever hassles you. It's an awesome place if you like to play off-road. And then you have a bunch of people that come out here and do the same thing. There's a father and daughter that are out here right now, just messing around. And this is the view. And just a bunch of trails. So I'm going to get back at it, and then let's get you into a video. Welcome to Chino, Arizona, where 90% of the time it's sunny, it's beautiful. The other 10%, it's kind of a toss-up. Right now, we have a cold snap going on. We have some snow going on and that kind of thing, so I'm kind of stuck indoors. I figured I'd make something that was just a little bit different. Now, I haven't posted in 2 weeks. My youngest stepdaughter was here for a visit. She stayed for a full week and a day, so I ended up not getting anything else done. Family time is far more important to me than this is. So, with that being said, why'd I move to Chino, Arizona? Well, it's simple. We came down to visit a friend of mine, and then we came down a year later to visit my parents who moved to Cottonwood, and also my friend that's in Chino. And we came down again to visit my parents, but that time we also did a little looking around to see where we'd want to live. We decided that we wouldn't mind living in Chino, or in Arizona. Okay. I'm going to keep going a little bit on my garage while I tell you this stuff. Okay, first thing is you're going to hear my heat running because, well, I've gotten kind of used to Arizona. And I like being warm, so I've got my heat running while I'm doing this. I'm just doing a little bit of straightening out in the garage because it always needs it. This time I want to be able to get to my toolbox. I've mentioned before that I have a bad back, so I have an inversion table. I had to clear it out of the guest room so that my kid had some place to sleep. So other than that, hey look, a broom for cleaning stuff. When my wife looked at me and asked me if I could live here, it was an instant yes. No more shoveling snow, no sub-zero temperatures, and even in the there hasn't been a winter that we've been here that we haven't had short and t-shirt days, and not just 1 or 2 or 3 or a week or whatever, but actually majority of the winter you can go out in shorts and a t-shirt. When the sun's shining, it really does feel warm. It's beautiful. It's hard to complain. I hated snow. I love driving in snow, and I love playing in snow, snowmobiles and that kind of thing. But living in Minnesota, I couldn't do a whole lot of that because, well, it's Minnesota and it's all private property. Out here, there is so much land to go out and explore. I bought an ATV, damn near 60 years old. Don't care. It's a good time. Had to move you a little bit, you were getting in the way. So anyhow, So when we decided to move here, we originally weren't going to move to Chino. We weren't going to move to the Chino area. We had a lot of other areas that we were looking at. But then we were sitting there watching the weather and what it did. I'm not a big fan of over 100 degrees, and I'm not a big fan of snow. So the Chino Prescott Valley area is about the best. Paulden, would have loved to have moved to Paulden. Paulden's just one town north of here. They have nothing but a grocery store, an Ace distribution center, and a Dollar General. Well, yeah, they do have a post office. But it is a wide open area. There aren't any HOAs or anything like that. You can do what you want with the land. Instead, I ended up in an HOA. So you make do. We moved at the beginning of the turmoil in 2020. We moved in the middle of 2020. So our choices were very, very limited. I think we ended up with a nice place. Brand new house, HOA, not happy about that, but it is what it is. So we just make do and pay for storage for our fifth wheel and for our enclosed trailer and enjoy a little bit of life. Learned a few things about Chino Valley. For people that are a little older, this doesn't seem all that long ago. In 1863, when Arizona was just a territory, it became a territory. For 1 year, slightly under, Chino Valley was the capital of the territory. That changed, and they built the governor's mansion in Prescott, and that became the capital of the territory. And it wasn't until Arizona became an actual state that they moved the capital to Phoenix. So this area has a lot of history in it that I was unaware of. Prescott has the Palace, which is a bar and hotel and all that, and all the names that you heard of the Wild West, they all visited there. So you go into downtown Prescott, and there's a bunch of museums that have a lot of memorabilia from those days. It's amazing how rich with history this area is. And then you go down to southern Arizona and you run into Tombstone and Tucson and all the other areas that you heard about all the time in the history books when you were growing up, if you're old enough to actually get the good history. But if you come out here and you actually start researching it, it's amazing how rich the history is around here. Another one of the things that really surprised me being out here was this area is definitely horse country. There's plenty of agriculture also because Chino Valley had water. There's a farm outside of town that until they started getting too many wells going, the water used to bubble up out of the ground. So this was a great place for agriculture. Chino is a type of grass. So the person that named the town came over a mountain basically, and in front of them was a huge valley that was full of this Chino grass. So that's what the town was named after, Chino Valley. It's wild to think that in the desert, there was this green valley that was actually named after the grass that was so prolific here. The other thing that's pretty wild is it is horse country, which makes sense because there's plenty of grass, plenty of open territory. The weather's fantastic. So it makes sense that this would get settled, and it makes sense that they'd have horses here. What surprised me was that a lot of people back in the Old West used to come to this area to get horses. And that does include actors, the ones that actually had their own horses. They would come to this area to get horses because they were very well known for very good horses. The west side of town has a lot of horses. The east side of town, you can go out into the desert, out on Perkinsville Road. the Perkins was one of the original families here in Chino, and they have a lot of land, and they have a lot of horses and cattle. So huge ranches out here, a lot of BLM land, which is Bureau of Land Management. That land can be leased for keeping your herds on, or it can be explored by people like me. When you're driving along or riding or whatever, and you're following a trail like Fire Road or whatever, and you come to a gate, unless that gate has a no trespassing sign on it, you just go ahead and open it, drive through it, close it behind yourself because it's keeping cattle where they belong, and keep going. You can go amazing distances here without ever crossing a road or traveling on a regular road. You can get out in places where there are signs warning you that if you come out here, make sure that you have extra water, food, stuff to keep yourself warm, because there's no cell service. There's not a person within 10, 15 miles. I know it doesn't seem like much, but if you're walking and you get caught out somewhere or you break a leg or something like that, survival kind of becomes a thing. That's something that you're not accustomed to across most of the U.S. Most of the U.S., you have cellular coverage, for one thing. Your cell phone works. Out here, unless you have a rescue radio, which is a thing out here, a rescue radio actually uses satellites. It's a GPS locator, and if you have an issue, you push a button, it sends out an SOS and gives your coordinates so that people can come and help you. That's if you're smart enough to carry one of those when you're out and about. I don't. Well, now that I've gotten rid of some of the sawdust that was on the floor from making desk legs, I think I'm going to get back at that a little bit. I am hoping to get a video of making desk legs out, hopefully by the end of the weekend. So, a regular video, who knows, I'm sure there'll be more coming. I am thinking of making another channel, basically dedicated to history in this area as I see it. There's a lot of content out there about the history of this area. We all have people that we enjoy listening to and that we don't enjoy listening to. Hopefully you'll enjoy hearing a little bit of what I have to say. And I will let you know if you're subscribed to me, or if you just happen to come across me, I'll let you know what that channel name ends up being when I create. There's a lot of interesting people out here. There's a lot of interesting history out here. And I would like to share a little bit of that as I see it, feel it, enjoy it. And I would like to share some of that with you, the way that I see it. The stuff that I find interesting. Who knows, maybe a few of you out there will find the same kind of thing interesting. But I will let you know when I put that channel up, and I'll let you know what the channel is. I might even link to it if I can figure out how to do it. So thanks for watching this episode of Wasting Time in the Garage with Jeff. If you like what I do, subscribe, maybe like the video. If you want to see something, if there's anything you want to see, comment, let me know. I read every comment. Obviously, I don't get a whole lot of them. But I am trying to grow the channel. I'm trying to get across the message. If there's something that you enjoy doing, do it. It doesn't matter what it is. I have a very wide variety of interests. I want to do them all. And so you're going to see a lot of different things on this channel. When the weather straightens out a little bit, I do plan on spending more time in the backyard. We have a shed that we're going to be building. We have another section of patio that we're going to be building. I'm going to be doing a lot of dry pour stuff. I don't know yet if there's going to be pavers on top of the dry pour for the second patio area, but that is a possibility. It's either going to have a fire pit or more likely a fire table. We are in Arizona. There are fire dangers here, so there's a lot of the time in the season that you can't have a regular fire. So a fire table seems like a better idea. We already do have one portable fire pit, so that if the weather is right and we want to, we can have a real fire that actually smells like a fire. But in the meantime, like, share, comment, subscribe. I will eventually be getting a Facebook page going. if the channel grows enough, if enough people like what I'm doing, I'll get a Facebook page going so that people can keep up a little bit more with what I'm doing.